on a certain side of it, everybody knew what that meant.
Yeah, there's a great elder in our community, Dr. Claude Anderson. I put it in front of you before, but he has this idea for this high-speed railroad system. I think could really be dope. But you do realize, Pete, a lot of black people feel like Democrats have kept no promises since they've been in office.
Really?
Yes. Reverend Allen said that a million times. I'm sure he'll be pressing you about that tomorrow.
Look, I get it, because the work is not done. But the reason I say really is we just passed one of the biggest pieces of infrastructure legislation in American history. It was a promise, and it wasn't just a promise that the Biden-Harris administration made or that us Democrats made in 2020. This is a promise that every president and every Congress has made in some way, shape, or form for as long as I've been an adult. And we actually did it.
But those are big, broad things, and that's great. But I'm talking about things you campaigned on, like the George Floyd Policing Act, and the fact that our voting rights, man, like 19 states have implemented voter suppression bills. You know that's going to directly impact us the most. And the only strategy Democrats are going to have is we got to go out there and vote in mass numbers to fight it. That's
right.
not a strategy.
No,
Hope is not a strategy.
Right, mobilization is a strategy, and these tactics that you're talking about make mobilization harder. And you're absolutely right. That work is not done. That work has to get done, and it's not acceptable where we are right now.
Yo, it's your boy Uneducated Brother. You know how we do it out here in these streets, man. Yep. You know, I've been waiting to actually put this video out right here to actually do it, because when propagandists and these motherfuckers come to your platform, it's strange, dog. It is real strange how they'll let all the Democrats and all the people that they feel that is not a threat to, the cult, the Democrat cult, go onto this platform and parrot the Democratic talking point. But they'll never let a real Republican in there. They'll never let a real conservative in there. And it's not even just about like politics. It's just like men, right-leaning, conservative, because the hub of conservatism, right, puts men on top. I want to get to this point right here, right? The two things that this man Charlemagne spoke about, all right? He spoke about the George Floyd Policing Act, and he spoke about the Voting Rights Act. Right, let's tackle this shit just a little bit, because we as a community, we cannot be this demoralized to be relegated to just this, right? Who does the George Floyd Policing Act affect?
Yesterday, the House of Representatives passed the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. It's a reform bill that would ban chokeholds and end racial and religious profiling. It also eliminates qualified immunity for law enforcement and mandates data collection on police encounters. The bill now moves to the Senate, where it faces a tougher road to becoming law.
You know what I'm saying? So let's tap a little bit more into this whole like George Floyd Policing Act. But here's one thing that these people are not telling you, right? I mean, well, they telling you, but for some reason, like not a lot of people comprehended. Did you know, right, there was a Policing Act bill that was written by Senator Tim Scott, and the Democrats avoided it?
We go now to Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
What happened? This country was supposed to be at a moment of reckoning at the relationship between police and the black community. Why did you miss the moment?
I'm not sure why they missed the moment. I have been at this table twice already. They've walked away twice. They did this a year ago, and they're doing it again now.
You're blaming Democrats for the failure of police reform.
I can't understand. Well, we should ask ourselves, how did we get here at all? It's the big blue cities where they have failed to pass policies that protect their most vulnerable communities. Think about Minneapolis, Los Angeles, Cleveland, Portland, Seattle. This problem came to the federal government because of the failure of blue mayors and liberal city council members for us to get here. So what we've decided to do was to stay at the table and look for common ground. We found common ground. We found common ground on military equipment. We found common ground on chokeholds. We found common ground on providing PTSD assistance and mental health and co-responders. We found common ground on a number of areas. Instead of moving forward on the areas where we were in agreement, they just simply walked away.
But you just detailed all those points of agreement.
Yes.
Senator Cory Booker, who was your partner in this.
Yes.
I mean, this started under the Trump administration, it continued under the Biden administration.
Exactly.
When Republicans in control went nowhere, Democrats in control, it's going nowhere.
But both times, the folks that left the table were the Democrats. Let's just be clear that we have stayed at the table. The Justice Act provided clear direction to improve the quality of the experience for the communities at risk and the law enforcement officers who patrol those areas.
So if you're still at the table, was the issue that you just couldn't deliver Republican votes?
Absolutely
for
not.
What Senator
Absolutely.
Booker proposed to you with what he has described as this compromise?
Once again, the fact is that last time around we gave them 20 amendments to change the bill in any way they wanted to. This time we said simply this: I am not going to participate in reducing funding for the police after we saw major city after major city to fund the police. Many provisions in this bill that he wanted me to agree to limited or reduced funding for the police. That's a lose. That's a lose-lose proposition. When you reduce funding for police, you actually lose lives in the communities.
My man wrote a bill to solve an issue, but they didn't want to pass it because it was a Republican doing it. Have you guys ever noticed, right? No citizen, no black citizen really matters. It's always the criminals. It's like these politicians are all only looking after black criminals. But any other group, like the Asian community, they passing laws for them, right? Stop the Asian hate, right?
To Washington, where today the U.S. Senate took a stand against anti-AAPI hate crimes. By an overwhelming bipartisan vote of 94-1, the chamber passed a measure aimed at shoring up resources to fight anti-Asian crimes that have surged during the pandemic. Senior Washington correspondent Devin Dwyer covered today's vote from Washington and joins us now. And Devin, it's not very often that we see such resounding bipartisan action in the Senate these days.
No, Lindsay, it's not. It's not every day we see Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell on the same page, much less nearly the entire Senate. I think it speaks to the fact that the rise in these hate crimes against the AAPI community have so deeply disturbed so many Americans. As Senator Mazie Hirono of Hawaii, who sponsored the bill, told you just earlier this week, this was a chance for these lawmakers to take a stand against racism, against this hate. They did that today. Only one Republican, Josh Hawley of Missouri, voted no. The bill now heads over to the House. They'll get a vote likely next month. And because of the overwhelming support today, most people here think it has a pretty good chance of becoming law, Lindsay.
They passing shit for them. But for you, they look at you as criminals. They handle you as criminals, actually. You know what I'm saying? And this George Floyd Policing Act that this man Charlemagne is pushing hard for, this is a real definition of a sellout. Like, all these terms that I've been growing up listening to, I'm like, yo, what does that shit even mean? But when you actually see it in real life, right? It's like, damn, when y'all was saying it, nah, that wasn't a sellout. A sellout was just somebody who just thought differently from you back in the days. Now, a sellout is a motherfucker who's gonna sell out your own community to the Democratic Party. And they're willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's sad. That's sad. They don't even give a damn about you guys. And look at what man said, right? What have they done so far, right? Oh, we passed the infrastructure bill. Yo, specifically for black, my G. Because we seeing everything else going around for everybody else. But specifically for blacks. And it's so sad. Like, yo, we got people who's not even citizens that's getting more benefit than black citizens in America.
Do you think everyone should have the right to vote, whether they're citizens or not? Portland's Charter Commission is holding a public hearing tonight on a universal resident voting proposal. The idea would allow asylum seekers, permanent residents, and other immigrants to vote in city elections. They're banned by law from voting in federal and state elections. Supporters say everyone who lives in a community should be able to have a voice. Tonight's hearing starts at 6 o'clock. It'll be held on Zoom.
What they're doing to the non-citizen is first class compared to what they're doing to your second class ass. And the crazy shit about it, right? They're moving them into your community and giving them whatever they want. But for you, really? We passed the infrastructure bill. Nigga, relax. Sit down. But anyways, man, we gonna tap on the voting bill on a part 2 of this shit. Because this is fucking ridiculous. Until next time, one out. Bad boy, baby.
Mr. Shakur, can we get a comment from you at all?
Hell no. Thug life.
Pardon me?
Thug life. Thug life. That's my comment.
What's that mean?